Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Feed Me Pixels review and recommendation series. I'm your host today, Larry the Chupacabra, and today we're taking a look at the first paid DLC for Warhammer End Times Vermintide, where you invade Schluselschloss Castle and try to defend it against hordes of invading Skaven warriors, which are basically just really friendly rat people that want nothing more than to turn you inside out and have you for the main meal of their afternoon picnic because it's great weather, and man, the view in this castle is just fantastic. And this is also a companion DLC for the new Last Stand DLC, which takes you to a large town square where you have to fend off the same hordes of rats, King of the Hill style, before they eventually overrun you and murder your faces, because there is no rescue in either of these new missions. The only thing is kill or be killed. But there is an upside. If you can manage to fight off massive waves of these murderous foes, well, you get some sweet, delicious in-game bacon, which we are about to talk about. So for those of you who don't recall, Warhammer End Times Vermintide is the game developed and published by Fat Shark Entertainment, which takes players into the medieval side of the Warhammer universe to fight off a massive invasion of the Skaven hordes, which are hell-bent on taking over the world and destroying what last vestiges remain of humanity in order to reset the playing field for the gods of old to, start anew and fresh with the world. And your mission then, as a group of ragtag adventurers, is to fight your way normally through semi-linear storylines and missions in order to accomplish various objectives which might mean the difference between the end or the salvation of humanity. The primary gameplay for the new Horde modes inside of Vermintide does not change a whole lot from the rest of the game. It's still the very familiar combination of fighting off massive hordes of invading rat people that want nothing more than to snack on your delicious insides, making sure to manage your limited pool of resources, both ammunition for your ranged weapons, consumables that make you strong and speedy, or even your medkits in case one of those rats decides that snacking on your fingers or toes or maybe a limb is the best course of action in the middle of life or death combat. But no, the primary difference between the new paid DLC and the rest of the game is you're fighting in a very round, centrally located map. It's not very big, where you have to fight off endless waves of Skaven invaders, trying to last as long as humanly possible so that you can get epic loot at the end of the match, so that you can get even deeper inside of the game's higher difficulty levels and see how all of that changes both the environment and the enemies that have come to try and kill you. And I gotta say, compared to the rest of the game, doing Last Stand game modes is a completely different way of thinking about not only your personal strategy, but also the strategy of your teammates, because instead of just running and staying on the move to avoid getting overrun by massive numbers of rats as they continuously spawn, you are in a very central, very confined area where the only place that you can run is into the awaiting clutches of another pack of bloodthirsty rat monsters. So you have to find either a corner or a choke point or a high up vantage point where you can shoot down at them as they try to crawl up and chew on your ankles because they've been on the Atkins diet for like a month and they're just going crazy for those ankle tendons. You really have to change the entire way that you go about thinking of the game so that you can survive. The good news and the bad news, depending on your level of strategy, is you don't necessarily need a whole heck of a lot of gear in order to start doing these new game modes. As long as you're relatively good at organizing your party and communicating with them to accomplish different tasks, it's very easy to select a spot in either one of these maps, hold out from wave to wave, and get some awesome rewards and go on with your evening. However, I have seen even the most veteran of players that have nothing but large numbers of loot and higher levels that instantly get wiped out every time they attempt these maps simply because they can't quite wrap their heads around how the content has changed and the different sorts of strategy that they're going to need in order to keep going from wave to wave, because you do get some resources in between these waves. You get little additions of ammunition or the occasional potion or health pack, but they are very few and far between, so you better be prepared to go long stretches without any aid or assistance, because you're probably going to bleed out, if nothing else, after you get downed a few times by the gut runners, or maybe even the occasional ogre rat. But to wrap this whole thing up with an overall verdict, I kind of liked the new Horde Mode DLC additions to Vermintide. They offer you a pretty decent alternative in order to both challenge yourself and your friends to survive massive waves and hordes of different rat creatures and monsters in different arrays and configurations and terrains. But they also offer you a very simple way to, on top of that challenge, farm up better gears that you can finally try and tackle those higher level difficulty maps without having to rerun them and retry them 1,000 times so that you're burned out by the time you're ready to finally challenge yourself. So this was a nice alternative to both give you a challenge and also provide you with an easier way of finally getting that gear that you so desperately crave. And for only $2.99 and only one of your friends that plays it has to have the DLC that you can all play, I think that's more than reasonable, especially considering that Fat Shark has been more than happy to provide a lot of other free content to the game, both additional features and maps and gameplay, so I wouldn't worry about spending that extra $3, because they will certainly add plenty of bang for your buck, especially if you're enjoying the game so far. Thanks for joining me, ladies and gentlemen, for checking out the first paid DLC for Warhammer End Times Vermintide. If this is the kind of game that you'd be interested in, your pal Larry here has got an extra copy of a collector's edition for the game, which includes all of the fancy frills and thrills of the original release, soundtracks, some extra content and items, and yeah, you can check out the link below to get in on that giveaway if you're interested. And do be sure to subscribe to Feed Me Pixels on YouTube for more great reviews and everything, along with checking out our website where we've got great written reviews and other such articles. And definitely be sure to check out our Feed Me Pixels live account on twitch.tv, where we've got lots of live antics, including beta playthroughs, giveaways, and more. And I've been your host, Larry the Chupacabra. I've got my own little corner of YouTube that you can check out sometime, where I do my own Let's Plays, reviews, first looks, and all sorts of fun stuff. So definitely check that out. I'm going to be playing some new sweet alpha and beta coverage soon. You can get that and all the rest of these links in the description. So catch you guys later and have a good one. Bye-bye.